Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in the last session, we have discussed about standard electrode potential of 3D series elements. Now I'm going to continue the same concept again. Well, now in this session, we are going to move on chemical reactivity. Means that chemical reactivity is predicted based on the what? Again based on the SRP, standard reduction potential values. Okay, well, and so there are chemical reactivity and SRP values. Well, what is the relation between these means? So earlier in previous session also have a bit discussed about that concept. Well, here the E0 values for E0 means standard electrode potential, standard reduction potential values, or I can say standard electrode potential values for what couple Mn2 plus interface M2 plus interface metal 2 plus interface metal indicates a decreasing tendency to form divalent cation. So if you consider the 3D series, okay, so what is the tendency? There is a decreasing tendency to form what? Divalent cations across a series. So if I consider the 3D series, what are the elements? So scandium, right? Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, and zinc. So it's a series. So if we consider across a series from scandium atomic number 21 to zinc atomic number 30. So across a series, what happens? The tendency of forming divalent cation decreases. Okay, the E0 values for M2 plus interface M, which indicates there is a decreasing tendency to form divalent cation across a period, which means scandium 2 plus, titanium 2 plus, vanadium 2 plus, chromium 2 plus, as like the tendency of forming divalent cation goes on decreases from scandium to zinc in case of 3D series. Well, further, this general trend towards what? Towards less negative E naught. The general trend towards less negative E naught values is related to the increase in the. So across a period, what happens? There is an increase in the sum of first and second ionization enthalpies. So there is increase in the value of first and second ionization enthalpies. So why there is a less negative values, E naught values less negative towards or so across the series means it is because of increase in the sum of first and second ionization enthalpies. So means from scandium to zinc, the sum of first and second ionization enthalpy. So first ionization enthalpy and I2 second this is some value. The sum of first and second ionization enthalpy value increases, hence the E naught value becomes less negative, or I can say the tendency to form divalent cation goes on decreases. Okay, well, now if you consider the E naught values for manganese, nickel, and zinc. Okay, so already specified the observed E naught value for manganese and zinc, which is more negative than expected. So even we are including here nickel. The E naught values for manganese, nickel, and zinc are more negative than expected. Okay, more negative than expected from general trend. So why we are getting more negative values? Yes. Well, in case of manganese and nickel, I already specified. So why we are getting more negative E naught values than our expectation means. So in case of manganese, we already specified. It is because of, so in case of Mn2 plus, it is because of what? It is the stability. It is because of stability of half-filled D configuration. That is D5 configuration. So after losing two electron, Mn is going to get a half-filled D5 configuration. Therefore, which is going to be more stable. So we observe more negative E naught value than expected. Then what about zinc? So in case of zinc, after losing two electron, what happens? Is going to get a completely filled D subshell, that is D10 configuration. Means here in case of manganese and zinc, why E naught value observed are more negative than expected, means it is associated with their stabilities. In case of manganese, Mn2 plus half filled configuration more stable, and in case of then D10 a completely filled configuration. Well, now coming to the nickel. So in case of nickel, what we are saying, the E naught value is related. Okay, why we are getting more negative E naught value than expected, means in case of nickel it is related with the highest negative enthalpy of hydration. Means here the hydration enthalpy is very high, that is highest negative hydration enthalpy of nickel. Because of this is going to show very, okay, more negative value of E naught. So what is the question we get here? The Mn, manganese, nickel and zinc have more negative E naught values than expected. Give reason. So what is the reason here? In case of manganese and zinc, it is associated with the extra stability, that is D5 and D10 configuration. Okay. Then in case of nickel, it is because why we are getting more negative E naught value, means it is because the nickel 2 plus is going to show a highest negative enthalpy of hydration. Therefore, is going to have more negative E naught values than expected. Okay. Well, next thing, so based on the E naught values, okay, based on not values of redox couple, what is the couple we are specifying now? M3 plus interface M2 plus 3 plus to 2 plus shows that Mn3 plus Mn3 plus and, okay, cobalt 3 plus, manganese 3 plus and cobalt 3 plus, they act as what? They act as a strongest oxidizing agent in aqueous solution. So based on what? Based on, if you think of the E naught values of what couple? Metal 3 plus interface metal 2 plus. So for Mn3 plus and cobalt 3 plus, they are going to act as a strongest oxidizing agent. Okay, well, then the ions titanium 2 plus, vanadium 2 plus and chromium 2 plus. Okay, titanium 2 plus, vanadium 2 plus and chromium 2 plus, they act as a strong reducing agents. They act as strong reducing agents, and they are going to liberate, you know that those reducing agents are going to liberate hydrogen from mineral acids, or you can say dilute acids. So Mn3 plus and cobalt 3 plus, they act as a strong oxidizing agent in aqueous solution. Titanium 2 plus, vanadium 2 plus and chromium 2 plus, they act as a strong reducing agent, and they are going to liberate hydrogen from dilute acids. Okay. For example, if I consider say chromium 2 plus, they react with 2 moles of H plus and get converted into chromium 3 plus, right? And they are going to liberate hydrogen. Say chromium 2 plus to chromium 3 plus. What happened here is undergoing oxidation. Oxidation by how many electrons? 2 electrons totally. Plus 2 to plus 3, 2 chromium atoms get converted into chromium 3 plus by liberating 2 electrons, and 2 H plus is get converted into H2, which means is undergoing reduction. By how many electrons? By accepting 2 electrons. So here chromium loses 2 electrons, that is chromium 2 plus is get converted into chromium 3 plus by liberating an electron. Okay, and H plus by accepting electrons get converted to hydrogen. So hydrogen is liberated here. Okay. Well, now consider two iron rods or iron bars. Okay. See, these are the two iron bars or iron rods. Well, say these are the two iron rods, or I can say iron blocks taken, and one iron block is kept under the influence of magnetic field, and the other is free from magnetic field. Only iron block is placed. Okay, say first one we have taken two iron rods, one is kept under the influence of magnetic field and other one is free from magnetic field. Okay, well, now we bring three substances. Okay, we bring three substances near the iron rod. See here, three same kind of substances are brought near the or in the vicinity of a iron rod. What happens? Say in the first case. Okay, in the first case, so what we are analyzing, one of the substance is attracted by that iron rod, which means substances which are attracted, okay, attracted towards the magnetic field. Okay, second one, say is the position, it is the position of a, okay, the second substance. Now what happened is moving away from the vicinity of that iron surface, which means what I can say, which is repelled, right? First one attracted towards the iron surface, second one which is repelled by the magnetic field. Okay, well, look at the third one. The third one, which is also attracted, or else I can say which is strongly attracted, okay, towards the iron surface, what, under the influence of a magnetic field. So three phenomena observed here. First substance is attracted by magnetic field, second substance is repelled by magnetic field, and the third substance which is strongly attracted by magnetic field. We categorize the three substances. This analysis is done where the iron surface which is under the influence of a magnetic field. Okay, well, now in absence of magnetic field, see, in absence of magnetic field, first substance no change, which means that changes are observed only under the influence of a magnetic field, that can be understood. Second, again second substance, again no change, and the third one, say third substance is being attracted. Okay, so in presence of magnetic field which is strongly attracted, but even in the absence of magnetic field, that substance is being attracted towards the iron surface. Okay, well, now so here what we are analyzing is, say one the substances, the first substances, the substance which move towards the magnetic field. Okay, the substance which are attracted by magnetic field, or I can say the substances which move towards the magnetic field are called paramagnetic substances. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರೀತಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು, paramagnetic paramagnetic substances. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ paramagnetic substance ಅಂದ್ರೆ, the substances which are attracted by magnetic field, or I can say the substances which are moved towards the magnetic field, called paramagnetic substances. Okay, well, second type of analysis, what we have done, the second type, and what we analyzed here, the substances which move away from the magnetic field. Okay, is the second substance, okay, which a second substance which move away from the magnetic field are called diamagnetic diamagnetic substances. So first one, the substances which move towards the magnetic field are called paramagnetic. Also in another way, how I can say, the substances which are attracted by magnetic field are called paramagnetic substances. Well, second type, what we said, the substances which are repelled by magnetic field, or the substances which move away from the magnetic field are called diamagnetic substances. Okay, well, the third case, what we observe, the substances which are strongly attracted towards iron metal under the influence of magnetic field. The substances which are strongly attracted towards iron metal are called ferromagnetic substances. Means if I consider the magnetic properties of d block elements, how many types we have? We have three types. What are those? Paramagnetic substances, diamagnetic substances, and ferromagnetic substances. Okay, three kinds. What do you mean by paramagnetic substances? The substances which move towards the magnetic field, or else I can say the substances which are attracted by magnetic field are called paramagnetic substances. Okay, second one, what we said, diamagnetic substance. What do you mean by diamagnetic? These are the substances which move away from magnetic field, or else I can say the substances which are repelled by magnetic field are called diamagnetic substances. Okay, well, and the third one, what is the third one? Ferromagnetic. Yes, ferromagnetic means the substances which are strongly attracted towards the iron metal under the influence of magnetic field is called ferromagnetic substances. Okay, well, now if we consider the first one, paramagnetic property. Okay, that paramagnetism can be arises, that paramagnetic, it rises due to presence of what? Presence of unpaired electrons. Okay, what is responsible for paramagnetic behavior? It is due to presence of, okay, unpaired electrons in a d subshell. And what about diamagnetic? It is because of paired electrons. So the unpaired electrons are going to exhibit a paramagnetism. Therefore, we say paramagnetism rises due to presence of unpaired electrons. And each such electron having a magnetic moment, okay, each such electron is going to exhibit what? Is going to exhibit a magnetic moment, spin angular momentum, and orbital angular momentum. So each that unpaired, each and every unpaired electron is going to exhibit what? They are going to exhibit magnetic moment, spin angular momentum, and orbital angular momentum. Okay, well, now if you consider the magnetic movement of a material, how we are going to calculate means, say here that magnetic movement can be calculated with the simple formula. What is the formula? Mu is equal to square root of n into the bracket n plus 2. So what is the formula here? Mu is equal to square root of n into the bracket n plus 2 is the formula. So with the help of this formula, we are going to calculate what? We are going to calculate the magnetic moment of a substance. Particularly what? Particularly paramagnetism. So what is the unit here? Bm. Bm means Bohr magneton. So here, say what is n? That n indicates the number of unpaired electrons, and mu is the magnetic moment, and Bm refers to Bohr magneton unit. Well, consider the magnetic moment in their +3 oxidation state. Say most common oxidation states of the element. Scandium, for scandium, what is the most common oxidation state? Okay, scandium 3 plus. Scandium 3 plus means what about electron? Unpaired electron, that is D, it is a 0. 3 electrons were lost, and unpaired in S there is no electron. So total number of unpaired electrons 0. So magnetic moment N is equal to 0, right? So answer will be 0. Titanium 3 plus. Titanium 3 plus means, so titanium, scandium, titanium atomic number 22. And what you, if you consider electronic configuration, argon 3d2 4s1 18, sorry, 4s2, argon 3d2 4s2. So here how many electrons are there? There are 4 electrons present. So titanium 3 plus means argon 3d1 4s0. In d subshell, how many unpaired electron? There is one electron, right? One electron means, if you look at the formula, square root of n into the bracket n plus 2 Bohr magneton. Here n is equal to 1 means 1 into the bracket 1 plus 2. So square root of what? 2 plus 1 3, 3 into 1 3, square root of 3. Root 3 means what is the value? It is 1.73. So it is a calculated magnetic moment, which is expressed in terms of Bohr magneton, right? And observed will be in the range of 1.7 to 1.8. Similarly, titanium 2 plus, unpaired electrons 2.84. As like for all the elements Zn2 plus D10 configuration, no unpaired electrons, so is not going to exhibit any magnetic moment. Say Mn2 plus D5, 5 unpaired electrons, so 5.92. It is a calculated one. Observed will be in the range of 5.7 to 6. As like vanadium 2 plus, vanadium 2 plus D3 configuration, there will be 3 unpaired electrons, so its magnetic moment calculated will be 3.87. So for all elements, it is possible to calculate their respective magnetic moment. Okay. Well, what is necessary thing here? We should be aware about number of unpaired electrons. That's it. Okay. Well, now coming to the MCQs. First one, D subshell has dash number of orbitals. So if I consider D subshell, how many orbitals are there? 1, 3, 5 and 7. Yes, D subshell, how many orbitals? There are 5 orbitals present in a D subshell. So option C. Okay. Well, next one, what kind of substances are, okay, just I will go through the question. What kind of substances are strongly attracted? Here question is strongly attracted towards magnetic field. Yes, first look for the options. Paramagnetic means they are attracted but not strongly attracted. Diamagnetic means they are repelled, not attracted. Ferromagnetic, yes, they are strongly attracted, right? Induced magnetic, no. So what is the answer here? Ferromagnetic substances. They are strongly attracted towards magnetic field. Okay. Well, next question. What kind of substance deflected away from the magnetic field? Deflected away means they move away from the magnetic field, or you can say they are repelled by the magnetic field. Paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, induced magnetic. Yes, what is the answer? Diamagnetic substances. They are deflected, or I can say they move away, or I can say they are repelled by magnetic field. So what is the answer here? Option B, diamagnetic. Okay. Well, the next one, the formula for calculating magnetic moment of 3D series. So what is the formula? So first one, square root of n into the bracket n plus 2. Second, square root of n into the n square root of n plus 2, n into square root of n plus 1, n into the bracket n plus 1. So what is the answer? Square root of n into the bracket n plus 2 is the answer. Okay. Option A is correct. Next one, what is the unit for magnetic moment? So they are asking for unit for magnetic moment. So option A, Bm, Bohr magneton. Option B, Newton per meter square. Option C, force. Option D, Ma, meter per ampere. So what is the answer? Bohr magneton, that is Bm. Option A is correct. Okay. Well, so with this, I'm going to conclude about this session. Again, in the next session, we go for other concept. Okay. Thank you. Be safe.